Note to the author. If you thought that the praise ended in your comment section, guess again. I have a non-issue here. That being that the Crowley and the Aziraphale that live in my head, that I fantasize about on a daily basis, as you do, I think, are no longer an angelic bookseller from London Soho and a demon from London Mayfair who work for heaven and hell and something with a 6,000 years of history and a failed apocalypse. No, the Anthony Crowley and the Aziraphale that live rent-free in my head right now are two millionaires that live in Oak Hill, Ohio, with their sons Adam and Warlock. You ruined my headcanon. And I thank you. And that's the thing with human AUs. I now understand their full danger, because there is the risk that if they are as good and detailed as this masterpiece, it actually becomes and replaces the actual canon in your head. I am meta-fanning the hell out of this. I don't know what happened, but I cannot get it out of my head. Something Worth Leaving Behind by All American Nightmare. It's a 46 chapter long human AU, womp fest, angst machine, romantic fantasy, couple goals, family goals, cathartic, comfort fic, all this and more. One of the main reasons I think that why this thing is nested in my brain as it is because of the immense detail that is put in this fic. Every time you enter a different scene, there's first a description of how the surroundings look like. And that is truly one of the most underrated writing tools that are really, really useful to me. Now I read this and the space where it's taking place is established and it's rich in detail. I know where the characters are. I don't have to make an effort of imagining a fake blob of a backdrop. No, the character is standing there and there. This is how the room looks and feels like. Scene in my head is established. Now onto the story. Fantastic writing mechanics right there. But indeed, onto the story. In this fic, the first one we meet is Aziraphale, and he's running away from his heavily abusive partner Gabriel. He's taking a bus from Florida to however far north he can go, but he ends up stranded somewhere in Bumpkin Backend, Ohio. There he meets a very kind person called Sal, who takes pity on him and directs him to their cousin, a certain Anthony Crowley, because cousin has a big plot of land with a trailer that Aziraphale can crash at for the time being. And this is actually a very common Good Omens AU trope, that Aziraphale runs from Gabriel, he finds Crowley, they end up in love and happily ever after. And if I were really, really lazy, I would say that is indeed the bare bone premise of this story. It's just that between the moment that they meet and the part where they finally get their happily ever after, there's like a shit ton and roughly 20 years worth of angst and drama to wade through first. The love between them is immediate, however. Anthony sees Aziraphale and right away falls in love with him. Aziraphale is a little hesitant at first. He's burdened with shitloads of PTSD because of his murderous ex. And that is also one of the things that kind of broke the trope mold for me, because usually people write Crowley as the one with the PTSD and the nightmares because he's a fallen and broken being after all. But here it's Aziraphale, and Anthony is the gentle soul who holds him through the night when his nightmares get the best of him. And it's no secret, I am so weak for the nightmare comfort trope. Just the image of someone that is softly shushing your fears away in the dead of night while rocking you back to sleep, or making sweet love / fucking your night terrors away. Give me those fics anytime, and this fic is loaded with these scenes, and just yes! And as you expect, Aziraphale and Crowley end up married. No surprise, but still very nice. Again, a trope I am so weak for, weddings. And there's a reference to like really sappy country songs. I mean, their wedding dance is to a Chris Stapleton song, and we got some Eric Church thrown in there as well. But especially the song they dance to, that scene is just so sweet. And I did the right thing by looking up the song while I read it, and then you fully get the reference. I mean, country music is not my cup of tea, but here it just fits. So, happily ever after. Nah, not yet, because Gabriel isn't really happy that his plaything has gotten away and found happiness somewhere else. He would literally kill to get him back in his possession. He is after this happy couple and he is ruthless. And he's not alone. He's been fucking this guy called Raven Sable on the side, and if you mess with Gabriel, you mess with him too. He's got a small army that is out to hurt Aziraphale in the worst ways possible, and he'll stop at nothing. Every time you think that the threat is gone and you think Aziraphale and Anthony can get a breather, something happens that makes it clear that they have to look over their shoulders for the rest of their lives, and the stakes are only getting higher as the story progresses. Eventually they adopt 2 sons who are Adam and Warlock, and that makes them realize they only have more to lose now, but one thing is clear. Aziraphale is here to be a bamf. Don't touch his family, or else you get to deal with what's wonderfully hashtagged as an angel with a 6 sour P329mm. That is an angel with a type of gun for us Europeans. Speaking of family, there are a lot of side characters in this fic, and some of them we know, like Beelzebub, who is Anthony's boss at the car repair shop he works at, and Anathema, who works at the town library, where Aziraphale ends up working. We got Tracy, who runs a homeless shelter where she meets Shadwell, who she saved off the streets. The rest of the them are there, who are Adam and Warlock's best friends. The cutest thing here is that Warlock and Brian start dating at some point, and Dagon gets a starring role as well. But those are the ones that we know as characters from the show, but there are a whole bunch more. As it turns out, Anthony has a small army of cousins, and they all have partners and kids as well, and we get to know all of them. The key one being Sal, who was the first person that Aziraphale met in this town. Sal and all their cousins are actually based off real people. Sal is this story's author, and their real life and family have been inserted in the story, and honestly this is probably the main reason why this fic feels so real and immersive, because the world and community that is based on comes from real life experience. The topics of family and community, it really runs like a thread through all the story, and this is more than just an Ineffable Hobbies fan AU. This is a glimpse in the life of a small town in Ohio, USA. Just the way that this community looks out for each other, all the get-togethers they have, just how the intricate machine of a small community works. Beside all the angst and the constant threat of an ex-boyfriend out for revenge, there are numerous scenes where the hobbies go about their small town life, where they attend Halloween and Thanksgiving parties and family barbecues and the apparently very American country tradition they call muddin', which was very fun to read from a European perspective. It gives someone like me, who has always seen America as this big dump corporate run consumerism dystopia, a bit spark of hope that somewhere hidden from everything that the media feeds to us here on the other side of the ocean, that tucked away in small country towns, there is still this thing called the American dream that is still very much alive, where everyone knows everyone in town, where you can rely on each other, where community get-togethers happen, and a certain gay couple goes to their son's marching band recital. Again, I don't know how true this picture is, but this is the feeling that I get from this fic, and it's a really warm feeling. And that is all in all the thing that makes this particular fic so appealing. Yes, it is very angst-ridden and a complete wild ride, but in between you get reminded what makes it worthwhile. The love between this particular AU's Ineffable Hobbies is so special and so profound. I mean, reading about their celestial 6,000 year bond in canon compliant fics is one thing, but to read them as human, who really have to fight for what they hold dear, with the very real threat that you might just lose the ones you love forever, to me personally, it really struck a deeper chord. Again, mind attacks, it's a whole lot of wump. Gabriel is a genuine sick psychopath in the story, and there's a lot of drama and suspense going on. But it's all sprinkled with really soft feels. And yes, it really has a happy ending. There were several times reading the story that I really had to remind myself that a happy ending was promised in the text, because it gets really, really desperate at certain points. But the ending is It's so worth it. And when you manage to read it through the ending, don't forget to read the epilogue as well. It's called When We Find Each Other Again by Darkness and Fire. Just click to part 2 of the Holy Verse for a little canon tie-in. Dear All American Nightmare, thank you for writing this epic and taking me on one of the wildest rides I've ever read. The tears I shed and the breaths I held and the times I literally screamed at my computer screen whilst reading this beauty. You deserve all the praise in the world and for everyone to read what you've made. So everybody get your asses over to AO3, link is down below. Bring tissues and don't forget your anxiety meds, you're gonna need them. Cheers and I'll see you all next time. Bye.